Thank you for tuning in to the Natty News Daily podcast. This episode is brought to you in part by our sponsor, Core Nutritionals. You can check out corenutritionals.com for all your supplement needs and use code Natty News Daily at checkout to save 20%. Enjoy the episode.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the first episode of the Natty News Daddy podcast. I'm gonna try to run with that, but this is
It's not gonna catch.
it's not gonna catch.
Natty
No.
Daddy podcast.
Natty Daddies.
Natty Daddies.
And Dan. Natty
And
Daddies
Dan.
and Dan.
I'm the Delp Daddy.
Yeah,
Do we
there
know
we
that
go.
for a fact, though? I don't know.
Yeah, we need to get that tested, sir. So let's preface this podcast by saying we don't know where it's gonna go. We don't know what all we're gonna talk about, but what prompted this, for those that don't know, I just had I didn't have it. My wife had our first child literally almost 2 weeks ago now, which is bonkers that it's been 2 weeks. So obviously, I've been trying to learn from James as far as like the tips and tricks of fatherhood. Obviously, Phil's now got two. When was your second born, Phil? Not long ago?
Yep, February 26th. So 2 months to the day today, actually.
So we got a 2-week-old, a 2-month-old, and then James has got two of his own, and then Dan's gonna be the moderator of this podcast. He's gonna take notes, so when he has kids, it's like, no problem.
Leroy, you seem better mentally now than when you FaceTimed me and James for the first time. It's like you came out of a haze and hi, hello, humans.
We're just gonna jump on in.
This is he's peaking, and then give it another hour, and
Exactly,
here comes
yeah.
the crash.
Yep. So
He's on
must be
the
asleep
James
right
caffeine dose right now.
I'm gonna start this by saying, if anybody's like gonna have kids or is like getting ready to have kids or whatever, and someone looks at you and is like, yeah, man, like you don't sleep much. You don't sleep at all, okay? Not much is zero. It's not a couple hours here and there, it's zero. So, for example, our son, we went into the hospital Monday, like midday last week, and he was born Monday night, just before midnight. I didn't sleep from probably Monday morning till Thursday. Anything more than like the odd little spurts of like 20, 30 minutes. So in total, in 4 days, I probably slept 5 hours. It's crazy what you can still do without sleep, because it's funny, like we have those nights where we're like, fuck, I didn't sleep well last night, and your day is ruined. But like when you have to like keep something alive, you cannot sleep. It's all good. So yeah, that's how I'll start this podcast. I didn't sleep last week, pretty much the whole week.
Mm-hmm. I'm having flashbacks and memories now. And Phil, I feel like you and I could just fill this whole episode with just like terror stories. But I strongly remember with our first Bella, the first night, because she was born 7 a.m. So I was trying to let Allie recover and rest. So I was on like duty for most of the night. She would sleep, wake up to nurse, all that stuff. But like I was so tired. But it was one of those like when you're like in college and you stayed up all night and now you're trying to sit through class, right? Like you're like nodding.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm holding my child because she would freak out. If we laid her down at all, she would scream. It was like, well, I gotta let Allie sleep. So here I am like holding her, and I'm like, for like 4 hours, just like, don't you dare fall asleep holding your kid on the first night. Like you're not gonna do it. Oh man, that was.
Wait
a
week for that.
So we
exactly.
So we like requested like a private room. So there's like, dual rooms. I think there's rooms with up to 4 people in them with just curtains, or you can get like a private room, and you just like her benefits, I think through work or her insurance, I don't know how it all works, but covered the semi-private room, and then we had to pay like an extra $40 a night for like a private room. So I'm like, hell yeah, give us a private room. Well, I don't give a shit. We're there for like 2 days, 20 days. I don't care. I'm paying that $40 a day. Well, booked. They don't got any private rooms. So we get stuck in this room with this other couple that our son, he just slept like the whole time. He didn't make like a peep. I don't think he cried the first like 2 days we knew him. And then their baby cried the whole time. So we had to do like, once he's born, they're like, okay, we do blood work and stuff at 24 hours. If everything's good, you can go home. So like the whole day, she's kinked up in the hospital bed, which is like not comfortable whatsoever. I'm in this like bullshit bed chair that is not comfortable, surviving on like protein bars and stuff, which is not comfortable. It's just a bad time. So like after the first like 12 hours, it's just get me out of here. Like if everything's good, can we just go home? So then like the 24 hours rolled around, so it's now Tuesday at like midnight after being there since Monday afternoon. And they're like, well, like we don't know. And we're getting so agitated, man. Like we were just so ready to go home. And we ended up getting, I think we finally got discharged Tuesday at like 3 a.m. Got home. Her mom thankfully stayed with us the first week, which someone told me they're like, if you have a relative or siblings or someone that you are close with that can be there for you, especially that first like night or two, just because like she's so exhausted from giving birth. Like James said, you're trying to keep things going, so you probably haven't slept much, if at all. So you're both like a write off, and now you have a baby. They're like, here you go, figure it out, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Like it's absolutely the wildest shit that they just like let you have a kid, and they're like, go home and figure it out. Like there's no books, there's no pamphlets, you know, there's nothing. You're just like thrown to the wolves. So thankfully her mom was here, which obviously we were still getting up and nursing and making sure everything's fine, but if we needed some space or needed an opportunity to just go like lay down for a bit, even not sleep, like anybody that's been like deep in prep too, like you'll know sometimes even if you just can't sleep, but you can just go like breathe a bit and close your eyes and reset, that can be a world of difference. So God bless Carrie's mom for keeping us somewhat functional that first week.
Yeah. The family's huge. Phil, I don't know like if you
No,
guys
it's the
have
biggest,
relatives
yeah.
in the area, but yeah, you lean heavy on the circle for, I mean, quite honestly, like half a year. And then after that, things start to settle in, at least seemingly they do for a little bit.
Yeah.
That sounds
No, I
ominous.
don't. That's. I mean, that's. I don't understand how people do without the help. To be honest, I mean, I have friends that don't have family near them. Um, maybe they're not trying to fit bodybuilding into their lives, so it makes it a little easier, I guess. But yeah, if you've got family, like the one thing someone told me is just don't say no. Like anytime anyone offers anything, just agree. Forget like pride and all that stuff. Like you need all the help you can get, especially that first one.
Mhm.
Because James, as you know, the second one, it's like, okay, well, yeah, we've done this before, and you kind of know what you're getting into. It's there. You know, Obviously having that second child is a complete game changer. At least that was the case for me. But that first one, I mean, doesn't matter what anyone tells you because Leroy, you're going through this. Like it's nothing like what anyone says. Like
Man,
that
I
level
didn't
of
know their belly buttons fell off till like a week ago.
yeah, there's so many things you didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, there's no pamphlets, there's no book. I got two pamphlets. One, don't shake the baby. Ah, damn. Okay, there goes that.
Wait,
And
what?
You're not
apparently, you're not
supposed to do
supposed to
that?
shake
What?
them. Yeah, I
This
don't
is awkward.
know. And what is it? ABC, alone back crib. But I don't know anyone who does that, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know anyone who can just put their baby down and they sleep. That to me seems like this magical fairy tale, right? That doesn't exist anywhere in life. Um,
He's like glued to us right now. Like we
yeah,
can't
I'm
separate from
actually
him.
very happy to hear that because, um, but yeah, it's that the level of exhaustion that I'm sure you're going through now, and I guess it does change as you have more kids, maybe, but I I don't care how deep into prep you are. I mean, I've had two ridiculously long preps at ridiculously low body fat levels, and I was nowhere near exhausted as I was with my first kid. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't think, it's just different.
What
I was
what was the
saying,
line I told you, Leroy? I said like time no longer matters for the first like month. Like you're
oh,
up
I
in the
said,
middle of the night, you're asleep in the middle of the day. Like it literally doesn't matter. You just collapse where you collapse, sleep when you can, and just keep moving.
that's what I was saying to you guys. I only know what day it is based on who's
Yeah, when
checking in.
you emerged in that FaceTime chat, you're just like, what day is it?
What is my name? Um, I can't imagine like doing this with a toddler. Like, I don't know how you guys have a newborn and then another kid. Like that is like to think about doing this with something else to take care of, it sounds astronomically hard. People with twins, like what?
Yeah, twins terrify me. Like
Yeah,
that concept is just
yeah,
Well, it's wild. Like
incomprehensible.
until you have a kid, right? You don't know you don't know. You have no idea. And like we were talking because twins runs in her family, and I guess it skips a generation, which means she was like technically in line for potential of having twins. And I remember us being like, wow, like that would be so cool and blah 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 blah. Now, no. Keep it out of the gene pool. I don't want it. Her brother can have them. But yeah, do do we want to talk about bodybuilding and
yeah.
how we've managed that? So,
But I wanted to kind of like let's see, right? So you're having your off season, not tentatively competing until 25.
yes.
Phil, you prepped, but I think were you done with prep when your second was born, right? Like, yeah, you were a
By
couple
the
months
time she was,
removed.
yeah, so I was, the entire time I was prepping, the first one was like in between 1 to 2 years old.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
prep
you
was
did.
done by, yeah, I can't imagine anyone prepping while they have a newborn. I would like to hear that from anyone who that's
You would
prep.
be the
Well,
one to
no,
do
but
that.
I'm the
isn't your
idiot.
second
Yes.
a little,
That
how old is your second
Well,
then?
so it was my first. It was my first. My second
Oh,
just
your
turned
first.
one.
Ah, okay.
My first is 3.5. So she was born September 2020, and I competed early in 21. So I
Yeah,
was
you're
competing
crazy.
when
You're
she was
ridiculous.
like 6 months old. Yeah, not my smartest decision. And it definitely, I mean, I was used to being sleep deprived, but when you talk about like rolling up to the gym at 11:30 at night, cracking a monster and like working out till 1:30 a.m., then just going home and existing the next day, like that was
Existing.
some bad habits for sure. That's why this one's going so much better because it's like, oh, I can work out at 10 a.m. and not, sleep 2 hours a night. I don't advise it. I really don't. I honestly think like now, like
If you
1 year old is probably the earliest I would advise someone to prep. Because even up to like 6, 7, 8 months, like I mean, Phil, you see it now with the 2 month old, and you've seen it with the other. Like things change every month. Where you could have a month where you say like, all right, the sleep schedule's good, baby's going to sleep within like 30 minutes. I can sneak in a workout here. Guess what? It's going to change next week, and then it'll change again and again and again. Like as soon as you get a routine, the routine's gone, and you just
That,
almost have to
yeah.
bank on that.
so you stop.
That's what I'm curious to hear from you guys. Like, how are you, when and how are you guys getting in your workouts? That's like, there is no, you may get into a routine, but I personally don't have a like
Mhm.
training routine. Like, I don't see how you can have that.
Well,
Yeah. Let's hear from Leroy first, and I'll talk about like what I've done because I've changed it up a couple different times.
I'm just gonna say this. If I didn't have my home gym, I I don't think I would be able to train. If I'm being like to think of driving, like the closest, to be fair, there is a gym just up the street that like if I was really like jonesing for a workout and I could pay the $40 a month for the membership for a little while that I could literally walk to. But if I wanted to go to like the nearest gym in town, it's 15 minutes at minimum. Train for like even to cram a workout is still going to be 45 minutes. Like, let's be honest. If I want anything worth doing, 45 minutes, 15 minutes back. So, like, let's round it up to an hour and a half. When on earth would I be able to do that right now? I have no clue. So, home gym, saving grace, 100%. And, like, I planned this in 2020 when we bought this house because I knew in the future it was going to pay off. And here we are. And to be honest, I've still trained like in the last 2 weeks. I've still trained probably like 9 times, if I'm being honest, like 8 or 9 times. So after like we got home, I took like a day or two to just kind of recharge a little bit. And then I was like, I need to go do something. I just need to move my body because I felt just so crammed from the hospital and even not sleeping. Like once I didn't sleep enough, I wasn't tired anymore, like to a certain degree. Um, and especially this week, like outside of the middle of the night, like super groggy when we're feeding them, and that first like 20 minutes when I wake up, I'm good. Like I train like it's kind of nice actually because I don't have to train at 6 in the morning. I can get up, mosey around a little bit, have a meal, go for a walk, train at like kind of 10, 11 o'clock, which is nice. So to be fair, workouts are kind of better to a certain degree compared to what I normally do. But yeah, like I don't know how someone would go to a gym after just having kids. I genuinely do not have an answer to that.
What I've seen with clients that have, you rely so heavy on the weekend, right? When you're not working, just because if you're going to be gone 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day on a like a work shift, and then go to the gym for 2 hours after, like it's too unfair for your significant other, right? Or whoever's watching your kid. So I've seen clients in the past where, especially if both of them are active individuals that want to work out, one will go early in the morning while the kid's still asleep, be back home as soon as that as soon as the husband gets home, the wife goes to the gym, right? And then the husband's handling like breakfast and like the early morning routine, and then they just alternate for the next day. And then there's one day in the week or something that they like make it work somehow, right? So it's normally like a 3 day split with just like upper lower on the weekend or something like that. Not ideal or optimal, but it works. Um, yeah, it would have to be so condensed to include travel and commute and everything. Same thing with me. The home gym has been fantastic.
Yeah.
I've gone to both extremes. I was there for a while working out super late at night. I've now switched. Well, I did switch for a while super early in the morning, and it really was just dependent on like when am I going to bed and like what's feasible for me to have a productive workout. But I refused to do it until the kids were asleep because I knew like I'm away at the clinic doing my thing. I can't then come home and say, hey, I need an hour and a half because my wife hasn't had an hour and a half, right? So as soon as I get home, I'm on dad duty, offloading as much as I can. And then it's just a sacrifice. Like if I want to stay in shape, if I want to work out, Allie has her decompression time. Kids go to sleep. She watches some like TV, and it's just a sacrifice for a little bit on a couple days a week where like we're not gonna spend that much time together because I gotta go work out, but at least I was here to help with the kids. So it's
Yeah.
just and each couple will, I'm sure, address that differently, and there might be different priorities. But yeah, like for my cardio right now, right? I'm doing cardio 4 days a week. If I wanted to do that at a regular time, I'd just be sacrificing more time with the kids and family. So I'm getting up at 4 a.m. and doing it. Get up at 4 a.m., do the cardio, do some client check-ins, some emails, and then, help get the kids ready. Bella goes to school a couple days a week, right? I do help out with breakfast, get them going, and then I work out, right? When they're gone. So it's just, and I remember early on too, it was, all right, what nap is the longest, right? Like, because then Allie's not on mom duty, especially when there was one, right? Like kiddos asleep. We should have an hour and a half, knock on wood that it goes well. And sometimes it didn't, and I stopped the workout. Sometimes it did, and you finish the whole workout, and then you just go, about your day as normal. But you just have to kind of find the time and prioritize the time, right? Because you're not going to want to work out. You're going to want to take a nap or fall asleep or get caught up on the laundry or do one of 18 things that aren't getting done. But you just have to tell yourself, like, I got to take care of myself before I can take care of the house or
Yeah.
whatever.
I've been doing like upper lower too. I think that's something, or if you're really, really tight, full body, like to do a body part split to any degree, I think would be probably a waste of time, especially if you are really, really tight on time. But again, for me, the last 8 sessions have just been upper lower. I've just been going in and doing what I feel like doing on the day. Obviously, I spoke with Cliff and I was like, hey man, like, uh, up the last couple weeks, I've been kind of keeping him in the loop with, any day now, any day now, any day now. And then when I checked in with him last Thursday, it was hey, baby's born. I'm doing what I can right now. I'll just kind of pluck away with it. And like, that's something that I think if anybody's in our shoes from a competitor standpoint or just even recreational bodybuilding, like give yourself some grace on things. Like I haven't tracked shit, I haven't weighed shit. I go in the gym, do what feels good. It's kind of been fun because I haven't had to follow anything. So I'm just like, oh, like what kind of back movements do I want to do today? Or what do I feel like doing for chest today? And it's been like just a weight off me to just go in there, do what I feel like doing, and come back, right? I don't have to do X amount of sets, X amount of volume. I've been doing a lot of myo rep stuff just to get kind of the most bang for my buck in a short period of time. And then this week when I checked in was basically like I'm getting there with routine. I'm still conscious of my nutrition right? Trying to get protein in 4 or 5 times a day. But again, like I know I'm not hitting like what he would have my calories at. My body weight's gone down a couple pounds, but it's more just like, you know, 30 grams of protein 5 or 6 times a day and eating what else I can and getting some stimulus in the gym. And interestingly enough, haven't lost any muscle. So we're all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about in some of the other podcasts I was on, bodybuilding as a normal person. Well, being a dad is kind of like being a normal person, right? But it's kind of that next level. And for me, I mean, it's just been all about flexibility. Like you kind of have like you kind of have what works in that week or that month, and it changes. Like you said, there's something new with the baby every month. Because yeah, I mean, when for the first baby, um, because it was just one, and my wife was still nursing. Um, if she was nursing and then she'd have a nap and then she'd nurse again, it's like, okay, well, it's not really much I'm doing in that scenario. So it's like, okay, let me just sneak off to go to the gym. I don't know when that will be. Should be sometime during the day, but let me go in, get a quick workout, 45 minutes, an hour tops, because I had to go to a gym still at that time. And I actually have a okay home gym setup now. But there's the 15 minutes to the gym, do what you can, 15 minutes, come back, and then it's like, okay, let me take over from there. And that worked for a month or two, and then it didn't. Then the baby just didn't want to sleep or was crying a lot. Then it's like, okay, well, now let me just wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and while the baby is sleeping a little more at night, get my workout in the morning. And then I have to completely like get used to working out in the morning, which for me, I hate doing. Or at least at that time. Got to get used to things when you have kids. But like that was such a big shift for me. It's like, now I gotta, how do I even like I'm not hungry? How do I even get in some nutrition before I go to the gym? Um, and then yeah, and just keeps changing. So for me, it was all about just being flexible. All right, maybe I have a good stretch where I go 2, 3 times in a week, and other weeks it's like, okay, well, I only went once this week. It's just so how that's just how it is. But yeah, being flexible and I guess um, working it out with your partner, or in that instance, because that's a big. I mean, we're all dudes here, obviously. We're not the ones that had the baby, but as Leroy and James, as you guys know, like you think it's bad for us. Like
Yeah.
think about what the mom is going through, right? They're
Yeah.
the ones who just delivered this human being from their bodies, and it's so much. I can't even imagine the changes that are going on there. Um, I don't know if your wives are nursing, or pumping, or whatever, but that just seems horrible.
Yeah,
Um,
that has been the biggest like eye opener for me is how challenging that part of this is. Um, because there's definitely like some attachment to being able to do that for them and a certain level of like just from my observation is like I feel not like obligated, but like this is my job. Like, why is this so challenging? Why is it so challenging for me? Why is it so challenging for the baby? And then, for us, we're standing there being like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do right now. And that's where it's like being like the most selfless right now is definitely important. Like, we're talking about trying to get in and train and stuff like that. But if there's any instance where it's like, I need you, well, then definitely not going to train right now, right?
yeah,
Like, I've been making sure like laundry's done, dishes are done, like any of the baby stuff that needs to be like sanitized, like that's done. Don't worry about anything else except for like you and baby being able to function because I can handle anything. And this she's made comments like, well, you need to sleep too. And it's like, okay, I don't need it like you do. Like your body is like recovering and repairing and needs to create the milk to give to the baby. Like I'm just a bystander right now. I don't need the sleep to operate like you do. I can throw laundry in on an hour's sleep. I can put the dishes away on an hour's sleep. You need the rest, right? So, um, I think if someone's a bit more selfish in nature, it's an obstacle that you'll have to overcome. You're gonna have to put a little bit of like yourself and maybe some ego aside, because you are not nearly the top of the food chain right now. Those mom and baby trump you every single time. I don't care if you need to meal prep. I don't care if you need to train. I don't care if you just slammed your pre-workout and she needs you. Get over it.
You're gonna be a little tingly. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be a little itchy washing dishes. Get over it.
And speaking from experience, like the mom guilt is huge, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
spoken about or not, like every decision that a young new mother makes weighs on them. Because if they made it because it's something they wanted, they're guilty because they feel like they're not being a good mom and it might be not benefiting the baby. Or if something is challenging that, society has made them feel they need to do. I mean, it's a terrible spiral that can happen. It really is. So be there for the significant other for sure. There were a couple of things I wanted to touch on that both of you kind of spoke on, though, Leroy and Phil. One about like the flexibility, and two on the nutrition, because there were two things that, Leroy, you talked about the upper lower. I think that probably is, if I had to say, like the most ideal split for this period of time, simply because you can train back to back days
Yeah.
throughout the week without any overlap, right? You try and get creative with these crafty, like we even saw it, Leroy, when we put together my first kind of training blocks together. There were some days where it's just like, I can't hit a chest and back day followed by a posterior chain day, followed by a pull day. Like it's not going to work. It's not going to be good. But there were some days where like I just have to do it. Especially I was training 2 days at a commercial gym, 2 days at home, right? So you got to simplify it. Go. And I don't think full is the way to do it either, because you don't know what your schedule is going to be. You could say I'm going to train Monday, Wednesday, but now all of a sudden you got to take the baby into the doctor on Wednesday, so you have to train Monday, Tuesday, right? So you need the availability to train any day of the week without overlap, which means upper lower is probably going to be the way to go.
I've
And
been running upper lower for the past 2 years because of that. That
yeah,
just haven't changed, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I could
doesn't
I
matter.
could
Just hit
easily
it.
flip flop upper lower like 6 days straight and probably still be fine. Like
Mhm.
I've had like some nice quad soreness, chest is a little tender, lats get a little tender, but then like 2 days later I'm like, yep, could go again, could go again. Whereas if you're smashing it, even on like not even just like a bro split where you're doing like all of one muscle group, but if you are doing like just that little bit more volume in one single session and you need that longer recovery time, then you're going to run into those problems where it's like, okay, doctor's office this day, mom needs an appointment this day, or you're running behind on time this day. And all of a sudden you're like, man, I'm screwed now.
Yeah. Well, not even that, but you're also making sure that each muscle group gets some sort of stimulus within 2 days, right? It's not like I need that third or fourth because I haven't hit my delts or I haven't hit my arms or, something like that, where you're just completely neglecting a body part on some various rotation.
Although I
And
do
then,
think full body, sorry, I do think full body can work. I mean, I ran full body for a good portion of the beginning of my prep last year, because my schedule was so wonky, with not only the baby, but all the traveling I was doing and everything. So I do think if you program it correctly,
Mhm.
depending on what you're focusing it on and things. I think full body could work, and that's why, like I said, this whole flexibility thing, right? That might work for a little bit, and then you might have to switch to upper lower or whatever. But yeah, I can't. To me, I tried other things, push, pull, legs type of things, and then I just couldn't get it to stick. So I don't know. I do think both can work if you do them
yeah. But
properly.
the beauty of it too is you can combine an upper lower into a full any day you want, right?
There you go. Yeah.
All right, so I got, Sunday upper, Monday lower, didn't train Tuesday. Guess what? Wednesday is the last day I'm going to be able to train this week. I'm going to do a full body day combined of my second upper lower, and maybe I'll scrap some of the volume. And that, when you say flexibility, it's not just on a mesocycle to mesocycle. It's like a day-to-day decision making. Like, what volume do I need to hit this week to be successful? Um, and then coming back to the nutrition part, something that our family does is we do like a food train, if you will, for the new mothers, where, and this was more the first week, but like all the family members pick a day of the week and they're going to order dinner and have it delivered to your house, which was great. That was the first baby. The second baby, my sister-in-law actually had the idea where she's going to come in before the baby's born, and with Allie and me and like the whole crew, we're going to cook like 50 lunches dinners, breakfast, like just mass quantities of food that can be frozen, and then just have it frozen. So that for months on end, we had like chicken fajitas ready to go. All I had to do was like pull the container out of the freezer, throw it in the oven, grab some tortillas, and I've got like peppers, onions, all of it already cooked, sauteed, like done. And it was fantastic. Like breakfast sandwiches ready to go, lasagnas, like whatever, and you can make it as bodybuilding friendly as you want, right? Like a chicken fajita, it's vegetables and chicken, and it's just already it's good to go. And that was fantastic, right? So on those days, Leroy, where you're like, I've had one protein shake today, I need to eat something, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to cook anything, and I don't have time to go out and like get something, and our fridge is empty. You pull a container out of the freezer, and it's like, boom, there's a quality meal, good
Yeah.
to go. So now you're in the thick of it. You might still be able to do it, right? Just like bulk cook one day. But that would be my advice, would be like pre-prepare, not like on a week by week basis, but just bulk make food that you can eat for months on end and just freeze it all.
Yeah, we did like those big like pre-cooked rotisserie chickens you can get at the grocery store. About like two of those. I think her mom, what the hell did her mom do? About like a bunch of Greek food the one time. So it was like massive chicken skewers and potatoes and rice and shit. So that was helpful for sure. Because yeah, like we cooked a meal like tonight was the first time I think we cooked something in like 2 weeks. Besides like random little things like throw some like eggs and hash browns on for breakfast or whatever. But like actually we made like beef, pasta, like some stuff tonight that was actually a substantial meal. And what I was like sitting there, I was like, this tastes unreal. This is the first time we've cooked something, and she's like, yeah. Felt like
That's
post
a,
show.
yeah. That's a good idea because my first baby, I lived off of Uber Eats for like 3 weeks. I mean, I was like in the depths of my off season, so it wasn't too bad. But I do like that idea, James, of like a
Yeah.
bulk prep, meal prep almost, if you will. That's probably a better way to go than ordering out every day.
Yeah. I might honestly have a couple of those meals still in my freezer. And we have like one of the big chest freezers, so it makes it easy, but it was literally filled to the top with it was mainly dinners and breakfast, right? Because lunch, we'll figure it out, right? Like that's less important for me. But for me to, if I wake up late because the baby didn't sleep at all, I need to be able to grab a breakfast sandwich, or we did like egg casserole, quiche type stuff. It was a lifesaver, really.
Game changer.
Yeah, that's a good point because I mean, I don't know, probably the same for you guys, but like the day goes by so quickly. Like, who know? I have no idea where time goes, right? Especially when you have a baby that needs to eat every 2 hours. Like 2 hours, like, oh, it's like a length of a movie or whatever. 2 hours is nothing when you're, after you feed the baby, you burp the baby, then you gotta wash bottles or wash pump
Oh
parts
yeah.
or change some diapers. Oh, hey, we gotta feed the baby again. Oh, now it's like this never and then all of a sudden it's like, well, time to not go to sleep. Let's just go to the bedroom and do this all over again. Like
That baby
it's
schedule sounds like mine.
Do you
like
do
I
you
said,
cry do
Dan,
you
a lot
cry
of
that
changes
much?
for you.
No, I don't cry that much.
Feed Dan, change Dan.
I cry in the poop every 2 hours.
I
That
just
part.
had the
Just the
best
eating.
idea. I just had the best idea. You know how I like photoshopped your face on that car for the
Oh,
podcast thumbnail?
oh,
The
yeah,
thumbnail. Yeah.
for the thumbnail, yes.
So I already had the
Oh
thumbnail picked
God.
out. It was gonna be a bunch of bodybuilders with like with a baby like over them. I'm photoshopping your face on all of those.
Love it.
You love
Nice.
photoshopping my face.
I do. I'm a big fan of that.
But no,
Um,
that's a real thing though, Phil, because actually with Bella, she was a little bit jaundiced. So we had, and she wasn't nursing well. So it was kind of like this, it was escalating because she wasn't nursing, because nursing helps them clear the
Mhm.
jaundice, right? And she was falling asleep while nursing because she was jaundiced. So it was like, okay, you not only have to strip her down so she's a little bit more awake before you like nurse her at night. So this is middle of the night, like midnight, right? Got to strip her all the way down, which newborn baby, that's just a nightmare in itself. Nurse her. And then I had to syringe feed her extra because she wasn't getting enough in. And then you got to put her back to bed. That whole process took about
like a day.
an hour and 15 minutes, right? Like an hour and 15 minutes. And they're supposed to feed every 2 hours. So it's like, all right, cool. We got to do this again in 40
Yeah.
minutes. Like, all right, fall asleep
Calorie
on the floor.
surplus,
Like, this is
baby.
what we're gonna do.
Man, our little dude had a tongue tie, so they had to cut that, which because he couldn't like open like enough to get a good latch, and he's still like we went in yesterday again for a checkup, and they said it didn't like re-heal back to where it was, which it can. So for those that don't know, if this is like your tongue, there's like a piece of skin under your tongue. If it's too far up, then they can't lift their tongue enough, so they cut that. But because they're babies and they're basically like supermen, they can like re-heal it very quickly. So we had to do a follow-up yesterday, and they said like it didn't re-heal, but they like pushed it down more to like give it more room. And I don't know if he's like operating with a new tongue now, but he's like all over the place. It's like, dude, it's right there, just like mouth.
That's all you know. Just do it.
Literally, it's like the most like what's the word? Like ingrained thing that this baby should
Yeah.
figure out.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just sitting there, you're like, I don't get it. Like, do I have to show you? Like, what do you need right now?
No comment on that one.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's weird though, man. Like honestly, just to like close this out, it's the craziest thing ever. You can't prepare for it. Like there none, no, nothing, nope, no. Well, when you get a puppy, no, not like that
Oh,
at all. It's
yeah,
not the
not
same.
nothing.
So this is
Yep.
perfect. We just adopted an 8-week-old puppy, and like everyone's like, it's gonna be terrible. You're not gonna sleep. And I'm like, this is gonna be a cakewalk.
Do
I'm
you
gonna
know who
sleep
you're
next to the
talking to?
crate for like 3 days. Like, we're gonna be fine. Pees on the floor, that's the worst thing that happens. So did my kid. I don't care. Like,
I got
let
peed
it
on
happen.
yesterday. I got
Yeah, there
the
you go.
fountain treatment yesterday.
Oh, yeah, and you had a boy, so yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
Oh, he just looks.
Ah,
You can
yeah.
see it, man. Like you take the diaper off, and like
I'm gonna get you.
it's that intermission of grabbing the next diaper, and all of a sudden it just started flying,
Dangerous,
and I'm
yeah.
like, nope, not today, Satan, not today. And I think it was today. She wasn't there for that one, so she hadn't experienced it. So like she just like freaked out, went like this. So he's just spraying. I'm like, get the diaper.
Other way,
Uh,
other direction.
Yeah.
I mean, James, I'm sure you the same. I'm glad. I mean, I wanted a son, but like those things, I'm glad I never have to deal with.
Hey,
It's
I'll tell you, being a girl dad is great.
oh
The
yeah,
the
I love
relationship
it.
with the girls, I have no issues with being a girl dad. People
Yeah,
do bring that up all
same
the time,
here.
like, oh well, don't you want a boy? Pass on, like, do the things. Like, no, my daughter's like Bella mows with me. Like, she sits on my lap while I'm mowing. She wants to go golfing with me. She has gone fishing with me. Like, my daughters can do
There are
anything a
women
boy can do.
bodybuilders. There are women
Yeah,
powerlifters, right? I mean,
she works out. She does pull-ups and push-ups in the gym while I am. Like, it's awesome.
speaking
Yeah.
of another, I don't know if you've ever done this, but like,
We're not closing this out ever, Leroy. We're just gonna keep
yeah, let's
talking.
not. And we
I'm
haven't
gonna
even
get
talked
ripped
too
apart.
much about having two kids, but like that, I mean, it's like I said, that's a completely different, like I was telling Dan, it's like you're adding supersets into your workout, right? Um, but something that I've just had to do, but it works out well is when you have two, you're even numbered, right? I can't even imagine having three, but I guess a hack is just bring the baby with you in the gym. If you have a home gym, I guess that works out well. But because there are a few times where I've had to just, the toddler, Monica's had to stay with her just because, she's becoming her own little human being self. But while still young, it is, and they get to a point where they're sleeping a little bit more often. Having them in, something in the home gym while you're working out, that was huge for me because trying to navigate now having two kids and then figuring out all the stuff we just talked about all over again, that took a while to get used to.
Yeah, the little bouncers that hang from a door. There's actually
Yeah,
old ATP videos of Bella in the background, like bouncing while I'm doing like an instructional video.
Apparently, I used to love those things when I was little.
Same.
there you go.
I
There you
just
go.
bounce around.
Clutch.
I should have more calves with how much I did that as a kid, but no.
Did your arms get my left arm and shoulder? I guess I held my
Dude,
kids in
my
both
arm is
left.
messed up.
It's Right. It's a new kind of like sore. It's
Yeah.
something that you get from holding a baby. They're not even that heavy, right? It's what, 8 to 12 pounds or something. But
Well, my little guy, I gotta walk with him, like his head and his butt are here. I gotta walk with him like
front
this.
delt pump.
Yeah, it's hard,
Yeah.
especially after one of those upper body sessions. Like this 7-pound kid feels like not
another
7
thing you do,
pounds.
like curl them, do some squats while holding them. I mean, get it in while you can.
I tell you though, cute as shit. He's cute as all hell.
The best thing in the world, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless of all that, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
The last 40 minutes at the end of this, I want you guys to know we love having kids. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Nope. Wouldn't do it again. I'm good now, but
Yeah, same here. And I still don't get how you can prep. I mean, James, good for you for doing that. But
I'm
again, if there's
sad we
anyone
didn't
out
I'm
there
sad we didn't
prepping,
get
right?
Berto on because he's supposed to be prepping this year.
yeah. Tentatively, I think he said, was it May or June was when he was going to start his cut, so somewhat soon. So we'll have to grill him and see if he actually is, because he seemed we'll see, not confirmed.
We'll see how I am in
And
January.
maybe having all that experience helps, but sometimes you can't fight, physiology of it all, right? Yeah, you can't fight babies.
No, you cannot. They win.
All right, people. Well, if you guys enjoyed this little impromptu Natty Daddy podcast, listen to us talk about our trials and tribulations of being parents. Let us know if you have questions about being a bodybuilding dad. Hit us up. Comment below.
Don't ask me.
Ask Dan about his thoughts on this. And
dad strength. Don't forget about dad strength. That's a real thing.
when's that kick in?
That's
Well,
after a month or two, right?
you're in the chronic systemic stress phase. As soon as you come out of that, it's just like
Nice.
skyrocket.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Once your body realizes that it can sleep again and like you're recovered, you're like, I can never be as fatigued as I was. So we're just pushing it balls to the wall now. Yeah.
All right.
Like you will never overtrain if you've trained after having a baby. Like it's not possible.
I'm benching 4 plates in the summer. Let's go. All right, people. If you guys enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. We appreciate the support, and we'll see you guys in the next one.